Welcome to Giants Latest. Over the last few days, the team has made a couple signings. They are mostly depth signings, but I believe that these will be guys that will be battling it out at camp, and you probably will see them throughout the summer. So let's talk about them briefly. Let's start with Aaron Stinnie, who actually played 16 games with the Giants last year. He has 3 starts with the team, so obviously a lot of experience with Carmen Brasillo and the Giants. The team re-signed him on a 1-year deal. He's got experience playing left guard and right guard. I believe that he has some center experience as well. So if, God forbid, JMS goes down and they have to move GVR over to center, which is what they did last year, I expect to see someone like Aaron Stinnie, possibly Evan Neal, depending on how things go this summer, over at the right guard position. Like I said, if that happens. The thing that I like about the Aaron Stinnie signing is 2 things, and I think I talked about this with Greg Van Roten, is the continuity factor, which has been a huge issue with the Giants for a variety of positions, but the offensive line has been hit the hardest. So the fact that between GVR and Aaron Stinnie, they have continuity. These guys are back for a second year. They already know the system. They know Carmen Brasillo. I just like the idea that there's more depth at the line, which is the second reason I like the signing. At the end of the day, the offensive line has been hit hard for many, many years over injuries, and there has not been good replacements. And while I don't think Aaron Stinnie is going to come in and be the savior if, God forbid, someone goes down, I do think that he will be serviceable. And when it comes to a backup depth offensive lineman, that's where my expectations are at. They're not very high. So I will take what I can get when it comes to backups. And like I said, I think the Aaron Stinnie signing was a fine deal. It's likely he just got a vet minimum. And having the more the merrier when it comes to the offensive linemen. So now let's move over to wide receivers, because Zach Pascal is actually not the only wide receiver that the Giants signed. So we're going to talk about both of them. But let's start with Zach Pascal. So he's 6'2", 215 pounds. He's played with the Commanders, Titans, Colts, Eagles, and Cardinals. So he's been in the NFL since 2017. So obviously has a lot of experience. The Giants only signed him to a 1-year deal. So when it comes to these type of signings, the way that I look at them is they are likely camp bodies and potential to be a Cole Beasley. So, if the Giants have any history with these type of wide receivers, specifically like they did with Cole Beasley, my thinking is, well, they're going to have the opportunity to potentially battle it out in camp. God only knows what's going on with Jalen Hyatt. I don't necessarily think that someone like Pascal or Humphrey is going to come in and take Jalen Hyatt's roster role. But honestly, the way that Jalen Hyatt's career has gone for the Giants, maybe they're going to trade him and they need more bodies. So I like the fact that he's a taller wide receiver. I think we all agree that, we have issues with the fact that this front office loves a slot receiver. Like, let's get some bigger receivers in the building. So anyway, I like that about Pascal. So some of his stats, he's played in 112 games with 47 starts. He's caught 169 passes for over 2,000 yards and 16 touchdowns. He also has returned 26 kickoffs for 597 yards, which is 23 per kickoff return on average. So another special teamer, which I think is interesting. I think this is the first offseason that we've really seen from Joe Schoen where he's focused on bringing in a lot of special teamers. And like I said, across the board, depth is important. I don't think that Pascal is probably going to beat out, Emir Smith-Marset for the return role. But what I do like is that this proves to me that maybe they're not going to force Eric Ray into that role for the 3rd year in a row when, he's gone 0 for 2 in years of it working out. So I'm on board with that. He's also played in 6 postseason games, 3 with the Colts and 3 with the Eagles, of course. So at least he's coming from some sort of good coaching tree. He's totaled 8 receptions for 65 yards and a touchdown. So I like a vet that obviously has that postseason experience. He put together back-to-back campaigns with 40-plus receptions, 600-plus receiving yards, and 5 receiving touchdowns for the Colts in 2019 and 2020. And yes, that was a couple years ago, which is likely why the Giants were able to bring him in on some sort of vet minimum deal. But like I said, competition is so important. And I think that we can all agree with this, that across the board, it should be at every position. Obviously, there were a lot of issues last year, and I understand the reasoning as to why the Giants were so focused on Daniel Jones being their guy and being the starter. But the fact that they had Russ Wilson in the building and they wouldn't even say, like, you're going to have the opportunity to compete for the starter. Like I said, I think Joe Schoen has done a lot of things wrong. I think he's made the same mistakes over and over, and I think that it's taken the mistake to happen multiple times for him to finally learn from it, and maybe this is it. maybe this is one of those opportunities where he has finally really learned from it. So let's talk about the other veteran wide receiver that the Giants have signed, little Jordan Humphrey. I believe that he goes by LJ. They signed him to a 1-year deal, another big body wide receiver, something that I have talked about extensively on my channel as well, that we need bigger target wide receivers. It's why I love Theo Johnson and I love seeing him and Bellinger get involved, because I don't care who the quarterback is, to have someone who is well over 6 feet tall who can go up and make a contested catch, amazing, what we all need. So he's 6'4", 225 pounds. He's entering his 7th season in the NFL. He's played in 58 regular season games with 23 starts for the Saints, Patriots, and Broncos. So another wide receiver who has played across the board at a few different teams. His career numbers include 62 receptions for 770 yards, which is averaging almost 12 and a half yards per catch, which is fantastic. And he has 7 touchdowns. He's also appeared in 3 postseason games, including a start for Denver this past season. So no special teams experience for him, which is fine with me. I think we all, like we have talked about, they have brought in a lot of special teamers. And I just like that we've got another big body wide receiver. Bring him in. Let's see what he can do. And listen, if he can make plays on the field and he's going to cost an eighth of what Kenny Golladay costed us, then so be it. I am on board. Sign us up. So let's talk lastly here about Cam Ward, who had his pro day yesterday. And from everything that I have seen and heard, it sounds like he had a fantastic pro day. I didn't get the opportunity to watch any of it, but I have seen some clips. And from what I have seen also, it looked like he had a great pro day. Shedeur Sanders is next, and that will be televised, I believe, on NFL Network. So if anyone is interested in tuning in, I will be tuning in as well. So when that is over, I will be recapping a little bit on here so we can talk about it, because as the days go on, you know, the connections, Shedeur Sanders to the Giants keep on coming. But I'm still holding out hope that there is a chance that the Giants can get Cam Ward. So let's talk a little bit about his pro day. First things first, there were a lot of Giants front office staff in the building for Cam's pro day. So that included GM Joe Shane, OC Mike Kafka, Director of Player Personnel Tim McDonald, who we all saw on Hard Knocks. The Giants also had quarterback coach Shea Tierney, tight ends coach Tim Kelly, and assistant GM Brandon Brown. So like I said, a lot of Giants players who are in the building for this. And I think it's great. I think, like I said, get all eyes in there, do what you need to do, and, you know, try for a trade up. Who knows? I did also see that Tennessee is hosting another workout with Cam Ward, I believe, at their facilities. So there obviously is interest in him, and after having a great pro day, I'm sure that is only going to help him even more. So his coach was quoted as saying he's one of one, not only as a player, but as a person. And from what I have seen from some of his post-game interviews, I really like the things that I have seen and heard from Cam Ward, both on the field and off the field. And there are a lot of reasons why I think he would be a good target for the Giants. I think his mobility is key, which was on full display yesterday. I also think just the fact that he has a lot of experience, and he is a player who literally turned around the University of Miami's season. They had a losing record before he came in. He comes in with an entirely new team, a new coaching staff, a new system. He learned everything and had success in year one. And to me, that says a lot about him as a person. It says a lot about him as a player. We have heard extensively about how challenging Brian Daboll's system is, and it's so hard to learn, and it's going to be hard on a rookie, and this, that, and the other thing. And if Cam Ward could have that type of success, I don't expect him to do that overnight with the Giants, but I do feel like he's capable of that, and he has the potential of doing that. So those are some of the reasons why I like Cam Ward. You guys let me know if Cam Ward is your guy. Let me know, and let's all, cross our fingers and say a prayer for the next month or so that he will end up being a Giant. Stay tuned. There's more Giants latest coming your way, so make sure you hit subscribe.